treasure hunter runs afoul some smugglers and the legendary Mongolian Death Worm in his search for Ghengis Khan's tomb. Sean Patrick Flanery stars as the down-on-his-luck fortune hunter Daniel, who looks eerily like a live-action Nathan Drake. Damn, Daniel!
Van Slamme clothesline.
In his search for treasure, he reluctantly gives a ride to some volunteers from Doctors of Hope. But it ain't free, and it's not without a smart-ass remark.
I take US dollars, euros, gold, I even take Tuckrick. What I don't do is give free rides, sorry.
Okay, Doctors of Hope is a non-profit organization. People are dying.
Well, then maybe you should hope for another ride to come by.
She's gotta admit, that was quite funny. Meanwhile, an American oil company inadvertently awakens the deadly giant worms with its experimental drilling, causing them to poison nearby wells and go on a feeding frenzy. That's what happens when you open up a can of worms. Now for the top 3 signature moves.
Top 3 signature moves.
Number 3, the young INDY Whiplash.
This is something that has to be done.
I don't know what
that is. Yes, thank you. No offense, no hard feelings.
I like how he's so proud that it worked. Second, the Well of Unfulfillment.
That's the last one.
Okay.
All's well that ends well. Or in this case, a bloody well. And finally, the finisher, the Mongolian Death Drop. Definitely not a good way to go.
Van Slamme tag in.
When you spot the deadly creatures next to a flammable target, it's like a prompt to trigger an explosion. So you gotta drop a one-liner. Here's an example. Now let's slamify it with the Van Slamme tag in. More like Mongolian Dead Worms. Mongolian Death Worm was an enjoyable creature flick in the vein of Tremors. There was a lot of fun banter and great chemistry between the two leads. And of course, there were plenty of worm kills. They also do a good job of incorporating a lot of the myth behind the legendary Mongolian Death Worm, with its venom and electrical discharge, which Daniel uses to track them. On the Van Slamme meter, I give it 3 out of 5 masks. Not a bad can of worms to open up on a Saturday night.
Van Slamme sequel pitch.
Daniel returns to hunt for treasure in Ireland, inadvertently angering some transplanted Mongolian death worms. He's joined by his longtime partner and boondock saint Daryl, and wealthy anthropologist / ex-special forces Jack Van Slamme, in a quest for a fabled tomb of a leprechaun. I call it Mongolian Death Worms 2, The Legend of Lucky's Gold. There's death at the end of this rainbow. And also worms. Thanks for joining me for Jack Van Slamme versus Mongolian Death Worm. If you like what you saw, be sure to subscribe and tell a friend. Feel free to comment below on what your favorite moments were and what you'd like to see Slammaranged.
Worm. Mongolian Death Worm.
Death Worm.